Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about the MSR Windburner personal stove system. It's a great choice for solo adventurers or minimalist pairs who want to boil water quickly. If you're new to the channel, my name's Roxy and I'm part of the Adventure Junkies team. We help people like you choose the right gear to get outdoors. If you'd like to learn more, go ahead and visit our website at www.theadventurejunkies.com. Now let's get to what you really came for, the MSR Windburner personal stove system. All right, let's unbox it and see what we've got in here. All right, well that was easy. It is not normally that easy. So it looks like we've got a lid here with both a drinking spout and a draining spout. So if you're doing noodles or some type of pasta, you can strain out of here. We've got a ton of instructions, the classic warning labels, and the burner unit. Looks pretty sturdy. There's some plastic here on the bottom, metal here. These are holes to let oxygen into the burner system so it becomes an enclosed system. And then finally we've got a fuel stabilizer, a cup on the bottom with measuring increments. I see 4 ounces, 8 ounces, 12 ounces, so 120 milliliters through to 360 milliliters, and this is a pretty big cup, and they are BPA free. And then a nice little felt piece to protect the inside of your MSR burner or MSR stove. And then there's also measurements on the inside of this cup as well. I see 12 ounces through to 28 ounces and 0.3 liters through to 0.7 liters. But don't be fooled, the max fill is 20 ounces, so we cannot get all the way up to boiling 28 ounces of water in here. All right, that looks like all we have in this package. Pretty simple. The MSR Windburner is made in the US and retails for $149.95. It is 4.2 by 7.1 inches, so 4.2 by 7.1, or 10.5 by 18 centimeters. It comes in at 15.3 ounces or 433 grams, and that is not including any fuel that you're bringing along. It's just the system. It also doesn't include the lighter, which we will talk about later. You've got to have a lighter with you. Let's clear away some of this stuff and get into the nitty-gritty of the MSR Windburner. Just a small aside as I'm checking this out. I brought scissors out to cut this tag off. And I see that there's actually a metal ring here, which would totally be uncuttable. And my first thought is, that's a really poor design for the backcountry. But you can actually just pull this little guy out and spin it off. And most of them, you do have to have scissors or a knife to get off. So this is actually a better setup than you usually have, especially if you are using your stove system for the first time in the backcountry. Put this guy back on. The MSR Windburner is often compared to the Jetboil Flash, and they are similar in a lot of ways. One of them being that everything packs into this cup right here, so it's a contained system. You just have one sort of Nalgene sized thing to bring with you in the backcountry. Where it differs is the fully enclosed burner, which is located behind this metal windscreen. So it ends up working really well in windy or adverse conditions compared to the Jetboil, where the burner unit is more exposed. The other way the MSR Windburner differs from the Jetboil is that it has a pressure regulator, and that is helpful for two things. One is to get a really nice simmer so you can actually cook instead of just blasting water. Instead of there just being a on-off, you can really dial in how much fuel is going into there. And it also helps with cooking below 20 degrees, so freezing temperatures. So it turns the stove into a 4-season stove instead of it becoming kind of useless in the winter. So that is a really great addition to the Windburner. The MSR Windburner takes isobutane. We've got 2 cans here. This is a 450 gram can, and this is a 100 gram can. I brought this out so we can show how everything fits into this system, and then we'll be able to use this for the boil test. MSR's claimed boil time is 1 liter in 4.5 minutes, or 2 cups, half a liter in 2 minutes and 25 seconds. So we'll see how that goes during our boil test. The last thing I want to talk about before we light this up and do a demo is there is no igniter on the MSR Windburner. So you do need a lighter or another source to light it. They claim that the igniters are prone to failure anyway, so it's a more reliable stove without it. And also because the flame is tucked so far in there, there is an indicator coil on the top of the stove that turns red once your burner is on and hot. So we will take a look at that also once we light it up. The indicator coil tells you when the radiant burner is working, and because that flame sits so low in this burner, it's really nice in windy conditions. We don't have that much wind today, but we will see how fast the boil time goes with no wind, so that'll be a nice test. If you're enjoying this video, hit the like button so more people like you can find it. Let's go ahead and set this up and get the burner going before we put any water on it, and just to see how it works and how loud it is and all of that. So I'm going to use the fuel stabilizer and clip this on in here. Sometimes easier said than done. All right. And then I've flipped this pin out. I'm going to twist this on the top. All right. So we're going to turn her on. So it takes a few spins before the... All right, and we're lit. So I can see it's a little blue here, and I don't want to turn it too much, but you can see the indicator coil is turning red to make sure you know that the stove is in fact on. It's hot, I can hear it, I know it's on, but it is nice to have that visual anyways. Pretty easy to turn on. It's a little bit iffy with throwing that lighter in right near the isobutane, but seems all right. All right, I'm gonna turn it off. You hear how loud it is. It's not too bad. I'd call this on the quieter side for a high powerful stove. All right, and then we're gonna get 2 cups of water here and do a boil test. We are back from our demo, and I am really impressed. This boiled water in 2 minutes and 30 seconds, which is only 15 seconds more than its claimed time, and I'm sure that is set at sea level. We are at 8,000 feet here. Of course, there is no wind at all, so it had advantage there, but that was a really nice fast boil for 2 cups of water. I have another timer running for the cool down, so it is already touchable at about 4 minutes later. But we are going to wait a bit before we pack it all into itself, and I'll show you that afterwards. I do want to mention that it locks into here. So there's these little locks all the way around, which is really convenient, that you can sort of put it on at any angle and you'll still have a nice easy way finding those locks. Sometimes they just have 2 holes on the bottom, and that means you have to spin it around a bit to sort of even figure out where it fits into the stove. So this is a nice system. So while this cools down, we'll just do a little recap. Once again, this system without any fuel weighs 15.3 ounces or 433 grams. This pot is 1 liter, but there is a max fill line at 20 ounces. So it's a little bit over half a liter for max fill. So keep that in mind. There is a larger pot that you can purchase if you'd like. One of the downsides of this stove system is you can only use these MSR stoves on top of it. There's no pot support or something where you can bring your own pot and place that on top. These are the only ones that lock down into it. So that is a con of this system. You're really locked into just the MSR products. But they do have a Java system. You can make coffee, use this as a French press. So there are other options. The bigger pot as well, but you are still locked into MSR. It is 4.2 by 7.1 inches or 10.5 centimeters by 18 centimeters. So that's about the size of a fat Nalgene, I'd say. This cup will go on the bottom once it's cooled down enough, and then the lid, but you can see, or about the size of this 450 gram fuel. It will fit in the side of a backpack, in the big cup holders. They're making them really big now, which is great. Or you could put it in the brain or stuff in the side. It's light, so it doesn't really matter where you put it in your backpack as long as it's right not up against your back where you want your heavier items. And it weighs just under a pound, so you're really not adding that much for a really great boil system. We got 2.5 minute boil time for this MSR Windburner, which is awesome because we're at 8,000 feet, so we are expecting a longer boil time across the board for all of our stove tests. It did really well. It's supposed to be a 2 minute 25 second boil time for half a liter of water, which is what we did, and we got 2 minutes and 30 seconds, which is awesome. It feels like it's about ready to pack down. We were 8 minutes out from our boil test, so I'm going to go ahead and demo packing everything into the contained system. And I have a 100-gram fuel canister here that packs into it. So we'll take this off. So we'll put this felt in here first to protect it. Aha! So when it's packed down in here, this igniter will not fit in, which is a bummer that you can't really have the system completely contained. But there we are. Pretty easy to pack down. So this is a really solid stove system for 1 to 2 backpackers, minimalist adventurers that just want to boil water really quickly, but also have the option to cook if they'd like, because it does do a nice simmer. I would suggest getting a bigger pot if you want to cook for more people. You can purchase the 1.8 liter pot. That is one of the downsides, is you do have to purchase extra items to get a bigger cooking surface instead of just like a pot support system that you can put one of your own pots on. Thanks to the pressure regulator on this, you get a nice simmer, so you really can cook food if you're looking to do that in the backcountry. It is sort of an awkward shape to be cooking food in, but it's still an option. Maybe doing some scrambled eggs down in there. It is still possible with a nice simmer. So they do sell a coffee kit with this, and there's even a hanging kit if you're climbing and there's nowhere to put your stove down on the ground. So there are options that you can use with this to make it more accessible while you're out. Once again, the biggest downside to this is that you have to stick in the MSR family and purchase other products from MSR in order to use this in a more varied way. Otherwise, it's an awesome stove, great at boiling, really surpassed the boiling test, and we would highly recommend using this guy to boil your water and cook your meals. Happy cooking! Hey everyone, I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you have ever wasted money on gear in the past or just don't know what gear to buy, I really want to recommend this book. It's called The Beginner's Guide to Hiking Gear, and it has breakdowns and explanations of all the gear you'll need to get safely outside. It's organized into gender, size, weight, what type of hike you'll need it for, and it's really helpful for any beginner out there, or even someone who's more advanced but wants more suggestions on how to enjoy your time outside. You can buy it at Amazon, and it's available in both paperback and Kindle. Go ahead and click the link below in the description and check it out. And you have more accountability. Hear me out. Out, 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 out.